to my art channel. Without further ado, let's get drawing.
Hi everybody, so I haven't been doing a lot of videos over the last few weeks. My family and myself, we've been really sick. So thank you for all the lovely messages, the kind words, the prayers, the gifts, and just thank you for your patience and your support during this difficult time. So Christmas is just around the corner, and for today's video I just wanted to do a fun, cute gnome that you can use on greeting cards and t-shirts. And obviously it's the season where people don't have a lot of money left over for gifts, especially during this pandemic. So it's a really fun way you can surprise your family and friends. You can email this, you can create a cool card. It's also something that you can do for each season. You can create like an Easter gnome or a Halloween gnome and so on. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to open up a 12 by 12 canvas, and we are going to begin by drawing our gnome. So I'm going to change the background colour so that I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to be drawing some white in here as well, so I want a different background colour so I can see what I'm drawing. I'm going to go ahead and choose my studio pen from my inking brush set, and we're going to begin by drawing the gnome. So for his belly, I'm going to choose a deep red colour. Now you're just going to want to do kind of like an egg shape. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's a gnome with a fat belly, so, and we're just going to do something like this. Now this top part here doesn't need to bother you because we're going to be doing the beard over the top of this. So then we are going to choose a flesh colour, and we're going to add a new layer, and we are just going to, on the top here, we're just going to create a small curve like so. Again, it just needs to be really rough. And then we are going to add a new layer, and in white we're going to do the beard. Now to get the beard right, all you need to do is just bring some spikes round, just like this. And drag and drop. And this is going to be his beard. Now we are just going to do a hat on top. So again, in the red colour I'm going to choose, and I'm going to add a new layer, and I'm just going to draw the hat shape. And all of this can be corrected in when you've finally got the right shape that you're looking for. I'm just going to bring his hat just down here like this. Okay, now we are going to do, on top of the flesh, we're just going to do two small eyes, and then we're going to add a new layer on top of all the others, and in a darker flesh colour we're going to just do a small oval for his nose, and then we are going to add some arms, some shoes, and then all the extra texture. So back onto the hat. Now I'm using all different layers for these different parts. It's like a puzzle that you can then fit together and change. So always remember the arms, the hands, the feet, it all goes on a separate layer. I'm going to add a new layer and bring it underneath all the others. And then I'm going to do an orange kind of colour for his arms. And I'm just going to do two kind of something like this, and then another one which is just going to come down like this. Okay, there we have the basic arms. I'm just going to add a new layer, and I'm going to add his boots. And something like this. Okay, then we are going to make sure this is underneath all the other layers, and we're going to do the same. We're just going to add some hands here for him. Really simple cartoon style, something that everybody can do. And then you can just go around and just finish up all the lines and the edges and make sure that the proportions are exactly as you want them. Okay, now we're going to go onto our hat layer. We're going to turn Alpha Lock on, and we're going to pick the colour that we did for the arms. You can do these in whichever colours you want. We're just going to turn the brush size up, and we are just going to add some stripes onto Mr. Gnome's hat, like so. Then we are going to go onto our arms layer, and in the red, we're just going to add some extra detail here to his arms, his sleeves. Okay, now we can add the shadows and the textures to our gnome. So first of all, let's go onto the beard, turn Alpha Lock on. I'm just going to choose a kind of light bluish grey, and I'm just going to turn the transparency down and the size up, and I'm just going to add a few spikes in here, just like this. You can then also smudge them, and you can just play about with the effects of the brush and the smudging, just to get the right texture that you want. I'm going to choose black, and I'm going to turn my transparency way down, and just here in the corners and around the edges, I'm just going to add some shadows. And then you can also just add some lines here. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and choose my touch up, my noise brush, and I'm just going to add some kind of fluff to his beard. It doesn't have to be anything specific. Okay, now we're going to go on to his shoes, turn Alpha Lock on, and I'm just going to choose a white. I'm just going to add some highlights. The same to his sleeves, turn Alpha Lock on, go ahead and turn, and just you can turn your brush size down, and just add some highlights, and then also some shadowing down here. And the same for his belly, turn on Alpha Lock, you can create some shadow, and then you can also create some highlights. And the same goes for his hat. So you can use and go with the curve of the hat, as you can see. And then to make this even more bright, I'm just going to do a yellow highlight on top. It gives it that really Christmas kind of look. You can do this throughout. It just gives it that extra kind of depth and texture. Okay. Okay, so now you have your basic gnome, which is going to be the main feature of our drawing. But now for the next part, we are going to draw a cute lantern. So I'm going to zoom all the way in, and I'm just going to add a new layer. And I'm going to go back to my Studio Pen brush. I'm going to turn the size down and the opacity up. And I'm just going to draw a circle. I'm going to create a small lantern. I'm doing this in black. You can do it in any colour. And just create a lantern-like shape. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm just going to fill in and then we are going to add some luminance to this. So go ahead and choose your light pen and then in a yellow, and then just do something like this. Add a new layer behind the lantern, turn your light pen up, and then just add a small circle of light behind your lantern. You can also use the flare like this, so that just adds some subtle light. Play about with the light brushes, they're really cool to use. Okay, so now we have our gnome. I'm just going to merge all of these layers together. And I'm just going to turn him off for a quick second, and I'm going to add a new layer. Now I'm going to go back to my Studio Pen, and I'm going to choose a blue, and I'm just going to draw a circle, hold my pen down, edit the shape, and I'm going to drag and drop this circle here. I'm then going to go back to my drawing, my black burn brush, and I'm just going to turn the size up quite a bit, nearly to the top, something like this. And I'm just going to go ahead over my circle, and I'm just going to create a really rough circle with the black burn brush. I'm then going to add a new layer, and then in a darker colour, I'm just going to go ahead and add another circle on top, something like this. Now obviously you can go ahead and play about with these, and then I'm just going to keep on doing this, but I'm going to let some of the blue show underneath. Something really rough, with some really rough edges. And I'm just going to mix the blue colours together that I'm wanting to use, something like this. I'm just then going to go ahead and merge them all together, and I'm going to add a new layer, and I'm going to click clipping mask. I'm then going to choose white, which is going to be for the snow. So, and just go ahead and on the bottom just add something like this for the snow. I'm just going to change my background colour, make it a little bit darker. Okay, so now you have your snow. I'm just going to turn Mr. Gnome on, and I'm going to bring him on top like this. Oh, whoops. I'm just going to undo that. I'm going to turn off the clipping mask for Mr. Gnome, and I'm just going to place him somewhere like this. And then I'm going to duplicate him. I'm going to turn alpha lock on, and I'm going to fill the layer with black fill layer. Turn alpha lock off, go to your Gaussian blur, and just a blur to about 24. And then you can rotate him and then click clipping mask, and then you can create a shadow. Turn the transparency down as much as you need, and there you have a shadow underneath Mr. Gnome. That's not all we're going to do. We're going to also add a new clipping mask, and in Blackburn brush with white, we're going to turn the transparency down, or we could do that afterwards, and we're just going to do some small dots, and we're just going to turn the transparency down. Then we're going to add a new layer on top of Mr. Gnome, and then with your elements, your snow brush, can go ahead and just drizzle some snow on top. Something really subtle like this. Okay, and there you can see it starting to come together as an actual design. Okay, so now I am going to group all of these layers together. Okay, so that I can move where I want. I'm just going to move him slightly up. We're going to leave some room down here for the text. Okay, now we are going to add a new layer, and I'm going to use my dry ink brush for this, and I'm just going to draw two small berries. I'm going to, in a green, just draw some holly leaves. I'm just going to colour them in. I really like the dry ink kind of look. For these, you can do this in any kind of brush you want. You can do it in a sketch brush or a paint brush. Okay, just something like that. I'm just going to choose a different type of green, and I'm just going to do some decorative kind of Christmassy style leaves here. Just play about with it. There we go, something like this. And then you can add some black dots here. You can turn on Alpha Lock to add your texture. And just have fun. You could do some Christmas bells. This is, I did a video of some cute Christmas bells. We did that before. And just play about with it and just have some fun. Okay, so something similar to this. I'm just going to change this green, I think, to something a little bit darker. There we go. Okay, something Christmassy. And then you are going to move these and duplicate them so that they're all around the edge of your gnome. And you can just rotate them so that it's something like this. You can also bring it underneath so that they're kind of sticking out from behind. Something like this. Okay, now we're going to add some text. I'm gonna just go ahead and add text. I'm going to choose a calligraphy type text. You can also You can also write this freehand. I'm just going to do this right here. Something like this. Season's greetings. I'm just going to duplicate it. I'm going to click on the bottom layer and rasterize, and I'm just going to fill the layer with black. Turn alpha lock on first, friends. Fill the layer with black. Turn alpha lock off. Go ahead and just do a blur. And then you can bring this blur just underneath so it kind of makes it pop. And then you can go ahead, go back to your inking pen, your studio pen, and then just go ahead and draw like a rope, something like this. You're going to want to do this on a new layer because we're going to be erasing. There we go. There we have it, something like this. Okay, now we're going to just erase so that it goes behind some of the letters, as you can see. And then on top and above, and just so that it looks as if it's wound around kind of thing. There we go. And then we're going to go back to our luminance brushes, our light pen, and we're just going to choose some really cool funky colours, and all along the bottom we're just going to create some colourful Christmas baubles in different colours, like so. All right, and then it's really starting to look super Christmassy and really funky, and the perfect greeting for a Christmas card. So there you have our Mr. Gnome. Merry Christmas, everybody, and if you don't see another video before, I will definitely be back in the new year. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel because it really helps me in creating more free videos for all of you out there. So if you want to come and join my Procreate group, the links are in the description. I'd love for you to be a member of my group. We can share awesome ideas, tips and artwork. Also, please don't forget to tag me on Instagram so that I can see what work you've created from this awesome tutorial. So love to you all, and I'll see you in the next video.